The word Zeitgeist comes from the German language and is made up of two parts: Zeit, meaning time, and Geist, meaning spirit. Combined, Zeitgeist means the spirit of the time. It refers to the dominant ideas, beliefs, and cultural attitudes that define a specific period in history. The Zeitgeist shapes how people think, act, and create, influencing areas like art, politics, science, and technology. The idea of Zeitgeist was first introduced by German philosophers in the 18th century. Georg Wilhelm Friedrich Hegel, one of the most influential philosophers of the time, described history as being shaped by the ideas and beliefs of people living in specific eras. He believed that each era had its own spirit that guided cultural and intellectual progress. Over time, the concept of Zeitgeist became a popular way to explain historical changes and trends, as well as to predict how societies might evolve in the future. The Zeitgeist of an era affects nearly every part of society, from how people dress and communicate to the laws that govern them. For instance, during the feminist movements of the 1970s, the Zeitgeist pushed for gender equality, leading to significant changes in workplace policies, family roles, and even language. Artists and creators often reflect or challenge the Zeitgeist in their work, producing music, films, and literature that capture the concerns and hopes of their time. Even technology follows the Zeitgeist. Innovations like the electric car today reflect a global desire to combat climate change. In this way, the Zeitgeist serves as a powerful force, guiding how people think and what they strive to achieve. The 1960s provide a clear example of Zeitgeist. During that decade, the spirit of the time was strongly influenced by countercultural movements, civil rights activism, and anti-war protests. Many young people challenged traditional values, which led to major changes in music, fashion, and politics. Another example is the Industrial Revolution in the 19th century, where the Zeitgeist was driven by innovation and the pursuit of progress. Inventions like the steam engine and the telephone reflected society's focus on science, industry, and economic growth. More recently, the 2000s have been shaped by the digital age, where the rise of social media and smartphones reflected a zeitgeist centered around connectivity and instant access to information. Each of these examples demonstrates how the zeitgeist influences every aspect of society, shaping what people create and how they interact with the world around them. The zeitgeist is constantly shifting, adapting to new circumstances and events. A good example is how technology has altered the spirit of the times over the last century. In the 1920s, the zeitgeist celebrated industrial progress and urbanization. But by the 1970s, environmental awareness began to rise as people questioned the impact of unchecked growth. Shifts happened because of changes in knowledge, activism, or major historical events like wars or pandemics. Over time, the zeitgeist acts as a mirror of society, reflecting its growth and transformation. Media plays a crucial role in spreading and shaping the zeitgeist. Newspapers, television, and now social media often determine what issues and ideas are widely discussed. For instance, the rise of social media platforms has amplified certain cultural attitudes, like the focus on body positivity or the spread of political movements such as Black Lives Matter. Media can also help crystallize the zeitgeist by turning new ideas into global conversations. However, media is not neutral. It reflects the priorities of those who control it, which means the zeitgeist it portrays may be skewed or incomplete. Still, media remains one of the most influential tools in shaping the collective spirit of any era. While the idea of zeitgeist is useful, some argue that it oversimplifies history by focusing on dominant ideas while ignoring smaller or opposing voices. For example, while the 1960s zeitgeist is often remembered as a time of progress and freedom, not everyone participated in or agreed with the countercultural movements of that era. Groups or communities that do not fit the mainstream narrative may feel left out of the discussion when people talk about the spirit of the time. Critics also point out that not all societies experience the same zeitgeist simultaneously. Cultural attitudes in one part of the world may differ greatly from those in another. This highlights the limits of using Zeitgeist as a universal explanation for history.